Do we blame Trent Williams for testing free agency? Remember, Dad, the Niners traded a third-round pick for him. They gave him money up front. They agreed not to franchise tag him. It seemed like they were trying to create some goodwill or some type of we'll do you a favor, you do us a favor. They approached him with a contract extension offer before week 17, and it was reported that they could not agree. And now he says he's going to hit free agency. He'd love to come back to the 49ers, but they have to. He'd also love to see what his worth is. So, Dad, do you blame Trent Williams for doing this?
No, I want to be very clear on this. He's not a fan. He's a businessman.
Right.
His business is Trent Williams.
Right.
His business is to get the best deal he can in the limited amount of time, which is very limited now, that he has left. So that's how a business works. He would be a schmuck to say, I'm going to take less money and go back to the 49ers who have a losing record.
Yeah.
What he's saying is, Niners, you're competing for me among other teams, and I'm giving you no preference. Show me the money. And you know what, Iggy? That's what professional sports are all about.
Right. It's not like he thinks of himself as a 49er. He thinks of himself as an NFL player who is currently stationed in Santa Clara.
I agree.
Right.
He's a freelancer.
He's a freelancer. I mean, he spent about 10 years with Washington, and he didn't feel any loyalty to that team. He got the hell out. He quit on them for a year. He had reasons. But, I mean, he saw himself as, again, looking out for himself, and he's going to continue to do that. And I would do the same thing because these teams aren't looking out for him.
Yeah, so not only do I not put Trent Williams down, I applaud him for what he's doing. And let's be real clear, Iggy. He used the 49ers to give him sort of like he did an audition for the league by playing really well for the 49ers. He used them.
Yes.
But they used him too.
Right.
It was just he used them better.
Right. I mean, exactly. They needed a left tackle to replace Joe Staley, and they didn't have much to give. So they traded a third-round pick for a guy who'd be cheap, who'd be expensive the next year. And they said, well, we're going to try to win the Super Bowl this one year. It didn't work out. It was really not worth it. If they lose him, it was a waste of a pick. And like you said, Trent Williams used the Niners better than the Niners used Trent Williams. That's the way it goes. Sorry. That's business.
And I want to say one other thing about free agency.
Yeah.
I'm an old guy, and when I was a fan and growing up in New York, there was no such thing as free agency.
Right.
Luke Snyder was the center fielder for the Dodgers, Mickey Mantle for the Yankees, and Willie Mays for the New York Giants.
That's what it was.
And they weren't free agents. Yeah. So what happened is you got an emotional attachment to these players as a fan. Mm-hmm. I remember what it was like to be a fan. You got an emotional attachment, and what's more, they wanted you to. Mm-hmm. Now, players got free agency. God love them. Of course, I would want to have it if I were a player. But it breaks down that feeling of, I identified with Willie Mays of the Giants, and I love them. They traded him to the Mets.
That's right. And so now, because of free agency, you know what has taken the place of regular fandom, or at least right next to it? Fantasy football. Because instead of rooting for teams, you just pick your own players and make your own team. And it's like, free agency. So now you just watch a game and some random guy on some random team caught a pass. Oh, that's 2 points for me. And that's how people watch football. I don't really play fantasy football because it doesn't really make any sense to me.
I want to say, in my experience of covering sports, the worst offender of any of the professional teams I covered in terms of not allowing fans to feel that they had an investment in the team is the Oakland A's.
Oh, God. It was almost like they were trying to hurt the fans' feelings. Oh, you like this guy? You like him? Oh, well, we're trading him just because he didn't come to the games last year. Sorry. Yeah. If you want him to keep him, then come to all of our games.